This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Jr.
The villain, Marty Skell.
The Mexican Ray Phoenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted Wide Open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from Twitch. This is episode number 2. No, this is not an episode. This is our recap. See, I'm screwing it up already. This is our BWO Hell in a Cell recap and analysis tonight. But I have a bit of a confession to make, guys. I actually thought, he was going to be back in time. And I did not write a note. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to wing it. I don't know what to do tonight. It's going to be tricky.
Nick, wait here.
What? What was that?
Okay.
Wait, hang on. Who was it? Hey!
You need a note? I heard you needed a note.
Oh, he's back!
Hey! I made it! I'm back! Yeah! Reports of my absence were greatly exaggerated. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and I am back on the show with a note, with some discussion points about Hell in a Cell.
Oh, wait, I got to do it. I just...
Hell in a Cell.
Okay, I can't compete with that. I came all the way back and you got new toys?
Yes,
What
I
is
did,
this
actually.
nonsense?
We were playing music. It was all kinds of good fun while you were
I'm busy
gone.
out there negotiating for Chad Gable to stop being called Shorty G, and you're here getting new toys while I'm gone?
Yeah, and as a matter
bullshit.
of fact, it looks like I'm running the card on a pay-per-view while you're gone. Imagine that.
Yeah.
You leave one time, and I beat your ass.
Yeah, well, fancy
it's
that.
It's going to be a good time, yeah.
Fancy that I actually don't watch a couple
Welcome back,
shows.
Sir Ian Dangerous.
Thank you very much.
I hope you had a fantastic vacation. I have missed you.
How was everybody? How was Nick while I was gone? Did he behave himself? Did he? Was he a good boy?
I showed up on time. I did the best I could.
Was he entertaining?
Oh.
I hope. I hope.
Oh.
But yes,
Well, guys,
hello everybody. I am back.
yes.
I have returned, and I have returned in time to discuss the Hell in a Cell that Nick just said so much better than I ever could, because of trickeration. But yeah, we're here to talk about that today. Welcome to Busted Wide Open. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the party. Yes, we're a little bit loopy today because I just spent 2 weeks driving 75 hours total over that 2-week period. It was a lot of fun.
Good God,
yeah,
man.
but I'm back. I'm back now, and I'm psyched, and I'm ready to talk about the Graps because I haven't done it in 2 weeks. So I'm very excited to do it and to discuss everything that just happened on WWE Hell in a Cell. But we can't do that right now, Nick, because you've got to tell everybody about all the ways they can interact with this here show. So get going on that housekeeping, sir.
Yes, indeed. Well, first, before I do the housekeeping, I want to catch up real quick.
Uh-oh.
JB with the Tier 1 sub. Welcome back for 3 months. Thank you very much, JB, and I hope you as well had a fantastic vacation yourself. Brian with the Tier 1 sub for 3 months. He says, "What's up, Howling Commandos?" Ow!
Oh, I thought that was Howl in Commando. I thought you were just no pants over there.
No.
Oh.
I am not Big E. I do not go. I wear clothes to the Thunderdome, thankfully.
Oh, just making sure.
Thank you very much, Brian, for the resub. I appreciate it. Costanza with 100 bits said, "Welcome back, Sir Ian, and as painful as it is, congrats on your Raiders beating my Chiefs."
Thank you. It was a beautiful moment for us. Unfortunately, today, Tom Brady and the Patriots are the two biggest thorns in our sides the last 20 years, and the Bucks, the damn Bucks as well. Last Super Bowl we were in, they beat us, and now they got Tom Brady. So once again today we go down to the Bucks, but it's okay. It's okay. We can all commiserate together on that one. So
y'all got bigger fish to fry this year. The Steelers look legit.
I got plenty saying that the Raiders are going to be better than they are. So I'm also anti-Steelers. It's a tough year for football. But we're here to talk about wrestling, Nick. Where were we?
I know. But last but certainly not least, Esme, as she is one to do, dropped 4,000 bits.
Oh, God.
Gang's back. Let's go.
Oh, thank you so much, Esme.
Kicking it off hot.
I missed all.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, guys, come over and join us, bwopodcast.com, for all the links to all the things, as well as here at twitch.tv/bustedwideopen. You can scroll down and look at our About section and find all the panels with all the links to all the things right there as well. BWO Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you pound that big red subscribe button over there. Follow us here on Twitch. And, of course, patreon.com/BWO is the best way to support the show, as well as subs and bits here on Twitch. Thank you guys for all the love over the last 2 weeks and all the support. While Sir Ian Dangerous was gone, I was holding the ship down, barely keeping my head above water throughout the last couple of weeks.
I bet you were fun.
It was fun. It was a good experiment, and I look forward to doing it again sometime. But huge shout out to everybody that showed up every episode and supported me and supported us and the show here every single night. But Ian, that is not why we're here. I'm excited you're back, but I'm also excited to talk about what went down on Rother Button.
Hell in a Cell.
You'd think I wouldn't be rusty anymore.
Too much technology, too many toys. You can't get it together over there. But you know what? Who else couldn't get it together? WWE with their booking. We don't know what we're going to do in the pre-show, so we'll just have a 24/7 championship match that you've seen before. R-Truth versus Drew Gulak. R-Truth didn't even know he had the match until he was on the pre-show panel, and they were like, we think you have a match against Drew Gulak, which apparently was news to R-Truth and all of us sitting out there in WWE land as well, in the WWE universe. We had no idea as well. So, hey, 24/7 championship match for you. Thanks so much, guys. So, yeah, that happened. And that's about pretty much all there is to say about it. It was a match. It happened. Drew Gulak got beat. He was surprised by it, not happy. R-Truth ran by the commentating desk again, or rather the pre-show desk with Jeff Jarrett was on it tonight. That was bizarre to see. But he ran by. They called Jeff Jarrett Road Dog, which is funny because I often think of Jeff Jarrett as not being that bright, but you call him Road Dog, all of a sudden he looks like a genius.
They also have similar proclivities.
Well, they also, Road Dog was the roadie first. That was the joke. But at any rate, it doesn't matter because R-Truth took off as well, followed by some of Lucha House Party and Akira Tozawa. Obviously, they did very well in the draft. They're still chasing the 24/7 championship. Yikes. And then Drew Gulak ran up to the desk and said, and I quote, "Hey, R-Truth, your childhood hero John Cena sucks." And then he ran off after R-Truth again as well. So the definition of a nothing match, the definition of I wouldn't even call this a pre-show match. This was a nothing match that happened to be on the pre-show. But the thing here, the only thing that pricked my ears up was Drew Gulak into the camera saying John Cena sucks. Now, we're a ways away from WrestleMania season, but there was something that happened later on this card, Nick, that we've been talking about on this show. That was an eventuality that might happen this year's WrestleMania if we have a WrestleMania. Who knows? Everything's up in the air. 2020. But there's something that pricked my ears here, and that was, what if John Cena were to come back for something? You'd have to have a couple of warm-up matches, you'd imagine. Yeah. Maybe there's something there. Maybe he hears Drew Gulak spitting into the wind and decides to come back and get some of his back. Maybe this is the beginning of something. I don't know. It pricked up my ears. I'll put it out.
We've talked about Roman Reigns and The Rock potentially. Can you imagine a WrestleMania 37 card that has both The Rock versus Roman Reigns and John Cena versus Randy Orton for the 17th?
So obviously I think most people listening to us right now have seen the show, have seen Hell in a Cell. I don't want to spoil the ending for those of you who haven't, so we'll wait on that. We'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to point that out. The Gulak did call out a little John Cena action there. And he also beat up little Jimmy before the match. It wasn't very nice.
That was kind of cute. I will admit I kind of laughed at it, right?
Pure heel stuff. He brings little Jimmy over and he sets him down. He like plays high five with him and patty cake and sits him down on his knee, and then he stands up and he boots little Jimmy out of the ring. Some pure heel work from Drew Gulak.
I mean, that's some virtual Snitsky stuff going on right there, you know?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's not his fault. But it is the fault of the people over at WWE that the show was what it was. But luckily, it started off with the best match on the show, and that was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the Universal Championship match. Now, if you didn't watch the show, you might be sitting there going, wait, what? This opened the show? Because Lord knows, Nick, that's what I was thinking, and you texted me that was what you were thinking. That what? Why are they starting off the show with this match? But there it was. Opening up the show, Jey Uso coming down to the ring, Roman Reigns coming down to the ring with one black glove and one kind of white gold glove with his little jumping Superman pose on it. And then there they were in the ring in the Hell in a Cell having an I Quit match, which is a new concept. Now, obviously, this is all because of the story that they're having together, which is that Jey will not acknowledge Roman Reigns as the tribal chieftain, the head of the family, the man at the head of the table, the guy who runs things around their place. He won't acknowledge him. He won't give him that respect. And Roman wants it. Roman demands it. And he's gonna make Jey give it to him. And frankly, Jey's whole family is on the line here because that was the stipulation. Roman said, if you do not say I quit to me, your family's kicked out.
Yeah, we watched this video package 3 times in the first 15 minutes of the show. So, it was hard not to... like, you could have never watched WWE before, and you would have complete understanding of what was going on. So, there's part of me that goes, okay, I understand why they're doing that.
I've got a buddy who hasn't watched WWE in years, at least not regularly. He dips in every once in a while. But he watched this match at the same time as me and hasn't seen Roman since, the Suffer and Succotash era.
Sure.
And his reaction to this match, I think, is telling as to just how good this new Roman Reigns is, how good this feud is, how good their way that they're portraying all of this, the drama of it, the acting, the delivery of all of it is, because he was blown away. He said, I'd never seen anything like it. And it's true. We've never seen anything like this. Everyone's demeanor has shifted entirely to the point where wrestling is kind of known for big, sweaty men yelling at each other, right? The classic wrestling. If you see any cartoon about wrestlers cutting promos, it's big shirtless guys covered in baby oil going, I'm going to kill you this Sunday. I'm going to rip off your arms and beat you with them.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a... Yeah, I'm a rebel. Right? This isn't that. Paul Heyman's whispering. Roman Reigns is talking in a very low voice. All of this is done in sotto voce. It's done very quietly.
Yes.
Right? And this match was not a fast-paced match. It was very slow. Every move had weight. It had meaning. Everything that they did, even though they had bursts of speed, it made it feel much more impactful. Every single thing that they did. Every minor move. And Jey goes and gets a strap out from under the ring. And for about the entire middle chunk of this match, it was a freaking strap match. Jey beats Roman with the strap. Roman gets the hold of the strap. He beats Jey with the strap. They both end up with it on their hands. They're tying each other up. Jey chokes out Roman with the strap. It's a strap match. While also being an I Quit match. While also being a Hell in a Cell match.
I'm not going to lie. I had a little bit of childhood PTSD here.
You got beat with a strap.
I was a bad kid.
You were,
I got the belt quite often. I was one of those that received corporal punishment in school on several occasions. Yes.
Oh, the teacher gave you the strap.
The principal.
Oh, the
and
principal
it wasn't
gave
the strap. It was a croquet mallet.
What?
It was a paddle.
What kind of sick son of a bitch was this?
Exactly. It had holes cut in it and everything, like for aerodynamics and shit, right?
He was all sitting there sanding it up for your tiny little pink butt, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get this kids." Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the kind Pink Floyd wrote songs about.
Hey, I got to jump in on you real quick because something significant just happened. First and foremost, Esme dropped 100 bits in, said Jeff Jarrett is garbage. That is all. I don't think we need to add any color to that. And Abe, not to be outdone by Esme, Abe dropped 5,000 bits.
Oh my God!
Said swerved. Best swerve of the year.
Wow.
You said Ian was killed by a hooker, but nope, he's alive.
Nope. Luckily, Nick killed that hooker first, so she was not able to kill me.
I did not
Quick.
kill a hook. God, okay.
You just beat up one.
Uncle Greg with a tier 1 gifted sub to Gundam Gabero. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Thank you very much. And Gundam, make sure you thank Uncle Greg for that gifted sub. And then he also threw in 1,000 bits. God, you guys are on fire tonight. I hope you liked the surprise. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Going back to the strap match part of this, I liked the back and forth of this. I really, really liked how this match played out. I like how this story is playing out. I want it to keep going. I don't know where we go from here other than the fact that we actually had the elders at the top of the ramp.
Well, you're jumping ahead here.
I am jumping ahead because that's the important
how
part.
This ended. Well, the important part to me was the meat of the story. The elders, that was the cherry on top at the end of this, because the real meat here was how the hell were they going to get out of the stipulation?
Yeah.
Where with Jay quitting, where the whole idea is Roman's not a guy who ever quits. He says in the match, the head of the table never quits. So he can't get Jay to quit. Jay's dead. Jay at one point has Roman Reigns knocked out, and Roman, well, of course, won't quit, right? So he can't get him to quit. To the point where Jay is so knocked out, the referee tries to throw out the match and say, he's your cousin, Roman. I got to call this match because he's out. He can't say I quit. And Roman, by the way, this ref was annoying as hell the entire match. Jay, do you quit? Are you quitting, Jay?
Yeah,
Jay,
just
tell me if
shut
you quit.
up,
Tell me.
dude.
Luckily, Roman is still kind of a face because he took that ref and hucked him over the top rope and halfway to Mars. That ref still hasn't landed. And he said, no one ends this match but me. This isn't over until he says he quits and he acknowledges me. This is my family. It's about me and my family. And so everyone comes out the back, opens the cage, and tries to stop Roman. Adam Pearce and all the refs and everybody, they all come running out of the back. Jamie Noble was there. And Roman's pissed off. He starts stalking away. This is how it's going to be, guys. This is how it's going to be. Nah, this is family biz. He gets back in the ring, starts beating up Jay Moore. And he starts beating him up even more. Not Jay Moore, the guy who does the Christopher Walken impressions. He beats up Jay Uso even more until Jimmy comes out again. Now, at this point, they'd had me a couple different ways where I thought, oh, no, they're going to have this be thrown out. At first, I was worried they're going to throw out a Hell in a Cell match again. They're going to call it because someone was out. And I was like, oh, God, no, don't do that like last year. They didn't do that. Then I thought that all the officials were going to throw it out, and I was like, that's a terrible ending. They didn't do that. And then Jimmy comes running out, or hobbling out, because he's still got a bum leg. And I thought, oh, no, they're going to do the same ending that they did at Clash of Champions. And they kind of did, with Jimmy jumping on top of Jay and protecting him. And then Roman, and this is where it went from I was worried about it to brilliance, is that Roman then has a full, Nick, I'm gonna curse here because it had me for a loop.
Okay.
He had a full fucking meltdown.
Yep.
And it was one of the most jaw-dropping things I've ever seen in wrestling, is that after being built like a monster in this match, and overall, after being built as this untouchable monster, Roman actually breaks down to the point where he's sobbing, literal tears rolling down his face, not fake at all, actually breaks down, crying, and even says in that kind of broken, sobby voice, I don't know who I am anymore. As Jimmy says, I love you. We're family. We got to fix this. This is family. What's wrong with you? And Roman breaks down, sits on the ground in the ring crying, and then goes over and starts hugging Jimmy over the laid out corpse of Jay. Just the pinnacle of drama in wrestling. This is as good as it gets. Argue with me on that. It doesn't get any better than this family drama, and done so well.
We had people in Discord saying they were sobbing at this.
Yeah.
I
was getting a little get a little dusty in my place as well, because it was legit. That was real. He wasn't fake crying.
In my head, I was
he went there.
this is how they're going to get out of this. This is how they're going to Oh, and then the Usos team up with him, and then they both acknowledge him, and then they become this sort of like real faction.
But this is the thing, is we might still get that, but we'll talk about that in a second, because then Roman, as he's hugging Jimmy, puts him in a guillotine, and as Jimmy's going out in the guillotine, he grabs Jay's hand. Jay wakes up to realize his brother's going out as Roman's killing him, and Jay just starts screaming, I quit, I quit, I quit, to save his brother. And then Roman stands up, and again, the facial expressions across all of this were just lights out phenomenal. The kind of acting you could put in a movie, like legit acting. And afterwards, Roman stalks, looks at them, sneers at them, walks out of the ring. Paul Heyman looks at him like he's terrified of him. And as you mentioned, Nick, the tribal elders, or rather the wild Samoans, Afa and Sika, show up at the top of the ramp. And obviously,
then I understood why this match had to go first.
Yeah,
because it was past Afa's bedtime.
And he goes up, and Roman gets coronated by Afa and Sika. Yeah, it's past his bedtime. Exactly. Yeah, you need to take his Metamucil.
Right.
Thanks, Nick. That's old person jokes.
Somebody said in the chat Discord, said it was Salisbury steak night at the old folks home. He didn't want to miss out.
Yeah, Denny's had the over 50 special.
Right, exactly.
So Roman goes up, he gets coronated. He's now officially the head of the table, and the Usos are in the ring just aghast. But this is the thing. So let's talk about the point that you just brought up, Nick. What happens next? Brilliant family drama, brilliant, simple match. So simple, all done by the performance of the people in the ring. And you could, I know, all wrestling is people's performance in the ring. This is their acting performance, is what I mean. But now, before the match, before the show, on the pre-show, Paul Heyman interviewed saying if Jay submits to Roman, he is now, Paul's words, his indentured servant. He has to do Roman's bidding. So now Jimmy and Jay, supposedly, you could say, or either they have now or they will, submit to Roman's authority. He's now the head of the house. They have to do his bidding. We've been saying a great storyline faction would be Roman and the Usos as a faction. And however you want to get there, whether the Usos turn heel or whether Roman forces them into it. I personally think the way that they're going with this, where Roman is as they said on commentary, as I was thinking, looking at his face and the way he was looking down at them, he's a tyrant. If he's the tyrant of the family, he's forcing the Usos to go out and do his whatever nefarious bidding. That's very engaging storytelling. Yep. That's a very engaging story. And having a reluctant Usos going out and carrying out the tribal leaders' evil plans, that's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. At what point do they, do they form a coup effectively?
Yeah, do they rebel against him at some point, or does his evil seep into them and taint them over time? So this is
bringing out Afa and Sika, I think, was a big deal because it's something I think of like a few weeks back, couple months back, when we first started this stuff coming out of SummerSlam and Payback. I was going, oh man, like really dial this up, bring out Afa, anoint him. If we do the Rock thing, have him go over the Rock, and the Rock acknowledges and anoints him, like really. And when they wheeled out Afa and Sika tonight, I was just like, oh shit, okay, we're going ham now. We just dialed it up another level because now we're getting into this story where we're really going to start telling.
They touched on it before, but this is when they're driving it home. So I think that I can't remember the last time that I think WWE has they've got this one made in the shade. They are sitting on potentially an absolutely fantastic storyline, and it would be very hard for them to screw it up.
This is going to make a great Chronicle a year from now.
I'm looking down this card at all the stories that they had on this card, and I'd say most of them they are screwing up or are not as engaging as they once were. And they're all kind of difficult stories to keep engaging. This is one it's going to be hard to screw this up the way that they've set this up.
Yep.
Knock wood, never say never, but they're sitting on a real powerhouse here.
Definitely. So, I mean, this could go down as one of the legendary stories of all time if they really do this right.
And we're right at the beginning. We're a month in.
Yeah.
2 months in.
Yeah.
Of this 2 months into the storyline. So fantastic. But here's the big question, Nick. Why open the show with this? The rest of the show, in my opinion, was in the long shadow of this match and this storyline because it was so engaging. There was better wrestling later in the show. There was more exciting moments. You could argue more like big spots or whatever. But there was nothing more engaging than this.
No.
There was nothing more intense than this on the rest of the show. And we had 2 other Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah. Costanza with 100 bits said, WWE, this is your best storyline going. Please keep it in your pants. I think they will with Roman. I think they know what they've got in Roman. There's a lot of fingers in this pot, in this pie. Paul Heyman included. Yep. And Paul is definitely part of the story here. Making the story, I should say. So he's, like with Brock, he's very hands-on with his boys. Yep. So I have the feeling that they will time this out well. Yes. So yeah, why put this at the top of the show? I think to discuss that, we have to discuss the other 2 Hell in a Cell matches. So we'll get to those. But speaking of Hell in a Cell matches, did this need to be in a cell? Why have this I quit match? You already had a stipulation, I quit. Right? It also got to be kind of a strap match at one point. Why did this need to be in a cell, especially because you had all this interference at the end anyway? Yeah, and that's a good question. I don't have a solid answer there. It didn't need it, other than just to amp it up that much more. If you're gonna do an I quit match and you're gonna have implements of destruction brought into it, then I mean, why not? It was a coincidental that it all lined up for Hell in a Cell, and they're just like, roll the cell down, whatever. That's what it felt like to me. It's Hell in a Cell. Let's make it in a cell. Yeah. Because it adds drama. It doesn't take anything away from it. No. And it adds a little bit more heft to the story. So why not? Why not have it in a cell? If this had happened 6 months before, it'd be WrestleMania. If it had happened 3 months before, it would have just been an I quit match. Right. But the cell did add an extra level of drama. So, I'm not mad at it. The important part was the I quit, the submission, the acknowledgement, all of that stuff. By virtue of saying I quit, you're also acknowledging that you're giving up power. You're acknowledging him, right? Yeah. And that's the crux of it all. Who gives a shit whether there's a red cage around it or not? But that's kind of the problem. Is there were 3 Hell in a Cell matches on this card, and as you guys will hear as we go on, I think that was too many. But it's a while before we get to our next one, because then we had to go through some of the other matches, some of which that were thrown together, like Elias versus Jeff Hardy, which I can only describe, Nick, as being a television match that just happened to be on a pay-per-view. Yeah, we the past couple of weeks, while you were out, Sir Ian Dangerous, we did have several instances both on Raw and SmackDown where we had pay-per-view caliber matches. Mm-hmm. And there were several instances of those, and all of us are sitting around going, why are these on TV? Why are these not on the pay-per-view? Lana had a great women's championship match. No, that's not one of the ones I was referring to. Okay. I don't know. Matt Riddle and AJ Styles. Not tore it down again. Yes. But no. Let's have Elias and Jeff Hardy. Yeah. I think the thing here is that they wanted to promote his album. Jeff Jarrett is an interesting inclusion into that, and he got to sing a song about it. It was all, I think, just to put Elias is back, right? I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And of course, we did have some unresolved business with the whole Jeff Hardy doing DUI hit and runs earlier in the year, and they're playing up the fact that Elias still thinks it was Jeff and not Sheamus orchestrating the whole thing. So there's nothing there. I dig the fact that they're revisiting that from 6 months ago, 8 months ago, but it didn't need to be on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So I would have been fine with this storyline. I don't understand why it needed to be on this pay-per-view. It was kind of what the hell is going to follow what we just watched right before it? So it didn't matter that this match was here. This was the piss break match. This was everybody getting a chance to get their shit together after that emotional roller coaster. Nothing shows that the show has. Nothing is like a good break in the show, like Elias doing that E minor strum. Yeah. And then we has a quick song, and then we have a match. That'll change the tone of any show. Yeah. So whatever you felt after that Roman Reigns match, boom, here comes Elias. Here's something completely different. There's a match. It was pretty meaningless. And at the end, Jeff looks like he's going to go for a big move. Elias gets out of the way, rolls to the outside, tries to go for his guitar. Jeff gets it first, smashes it over Elias's back, getting himself disqualified so that Elias wins the match and Nick wins the pay-per-view. Bullshit. And that wasn't the only one I won on, sir. We'll talk about the big one. Okay. But still, I would have tied if it wasn't for this. But the point is that
at the end of this, it wasn't even a match. There wasn't even an outcome. And it's not really an interesting feud. And there's other feuds that are going on right now that are more interesting. There's other matches that have happened in the last week that are more interesting they could have saved for the show.
Yeah.
So why do this other than, hey, Elias has an album? And that's a really silly reason for a match.
Yeah,
frankly.
agreed.
But next, we actually had a match that came up at the very last minute, thanks to the Law and Otis segment on this last week's SmackDown Live.
I'm disappointed that I did not have the foresight to make a stinger button for the bang bang.
The bong. You're getting too many toys over there.
Yeah.
So first of all, that was a brilliant segment. Second, very funny. Second of all, this is what we were saying was going to be happening for at least 2 months now, Nick. I think at least, if not more, was I think it started around the time Roman won the title, and maybe even before, around the Fiend. We're sitting there going, yes, Otis is Mr. Money in the Bank. People are starting to cool on him being Mr. Money in the Bank, or they just don't have him even coming out with the briefcase. What are they going to do about that? You can't have someone as popular as Otis, a popular babyface like that, lose on a Money in the Bank cash-in.
Right.
So what do? You can take it away from him, have him lose it in some semi-honorable fashion. How do you do that? Well, he started feuding with Miz and Morrison. Who would be great to take it off of him? Who could lose a cash-in and not lose any cachet? And that's Miz. Because Miz is Miz. He's a very established character. He's not going anywhere. You could fluff him up to be the Intercontinental title picture after 1,000 losses, and it would work because he's so established as what he is. So if you give the Money in the Bank to Miz, he can go and cash it in on whoever, lose the cash in, or possibly win it, depending on some things I want to talk about later in the show. And it's a better look than having it on Otis. And so what do? You have Otis get into a legal situation, quote unquote legal situation, where he's now forced to defend the Money in the Bank briefcase against Miz. And if he loses the briefcase to Miz, which he does, but in a way that none of us saw.
Yeah.
And that was after a fairly ordinary match. Morrison gets kicked out of ringside for interfering. Otis gets hit in the head behind the referee's back by none other than Tucker. His tag team partner betrays him, causing Miz to get the win and the briefcase. And afterwards, Tucker tried to explain himself. And of course, it's exactly what you would think it would be. Otis gets the spotlight. I'm the guy who's always helping him out. I'm the one who gave him the confidence to ask out Mandy. I'm the one who helped him win the briefcase. I'm the one who helped him with all this stuff. I'm so angry. I'm so bitter. I'm so fed up. Okay, another tag team split up. Except they've been drafted to 2 separate brands. So how they're going to get that to work is anybody's guess.
Yeah.
Nick. But Miz is now Ms. Money in the Bank.
And he specifically called out the WWE and Universal Championships in his sort of promo.
So we know he's not going for U.S. or Intercontinental.
Well, I'm wondering if that's a little bit of a kind of a on the nose. He might actually go and cash in on Sami Zayn and get back to what we all know Miz and his rise to prominence around the Intercontinental Championship. Cash in there.
I see that Nick Booking has not got away.
No, it hasn't.
Nick Booking has only gotten stronger in my absence. But yeah, so no, here's Tucker fully turning heel. He and Otis brawl out to the back after all this is done. Heavy Machinery is done. Another WWE tag team, promising WWE tag team toast. Because, we have so many of them ready to feud with the champs right now. I don't know how that feud goes forward because they're different champs.
New Day.
New Day and
Street Profits.
Yeah.
They just swap. Yeah, okay.
They just hand each other titles because that's really entertaining.
Sure.
That's what you do when you have good writers who can come up with interesting concepts.
Right.
To create drama, you could have done so many things with having those titles swapped, but instead I'm just going to hand them to you. You hand yours to me. Okay, cool. Let's go build sandcastles and have lollipops. Yay.
Wow.
So Miz is now Mr. Money in the Bank. We don't know if he's going for the Universal or the WWE title, or as Nick says, one of the lesser ones, and he's swerving us all. But again, let's talk about that later in the show when we find out who are the holders. We know Roman's still Universal, but we got to talk about Drew and Randy. We'll get to that. I want to talk about Miz in that context when we get there. So I did call Miz to pick it up here. I've been waiting for this for months. Finally happened. But then something else we've been waiting for months for is Sasha versus Bayley. Part 2. This time with Marcel. Hell in a Cell match, SmackDown Women's Championship on the line. And it was, I don't know, Nick. I've seen a lot of people online already praising this match as being better than Sasha Bailey in Brooklyn at TakeOver. I've seen a lot of people say that this was the best women's Hell in a Cell match. I'll grant them that, but that's not exactly a really good group of matches to be in.
No,
because they've all kind of sucked.
Real quick before we go any further, I don't want to get too far behind. Costanza threw in 100 bits, said, "Tucky, no." I agree. If somebody we were having some comparisons of Tucky versus Angelo Dawkins and stuff like that. Tucker legit has more wrestling skill in his pinky finger than Angelo Dawkins. It'll be
Dawkins
interesting.
has more charisma in his pinky finger than Tucky does. I hate to say it.
Sure. And that's thanks to hanging out with Montez Ford for the last 2 years.
But they're both inarguably the Genettis of their team.
Sure.
Only Tucky didn't get a barbershop window. Tucky was the aggressor here, so at least he got to be the one doing the breaking.
Sure. Thank you, Costanza. Sorry, I just didn't want to miss that one. So you were saying it's been compared to their matches previously on NXT and other women's Hell in a Cell matches. It's the best women's Hell in a Cell match, sure.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
Of the 3 that we've had now.
Yeah. And we've got people in chat right now saying match of the night. And you know what? Fair. I can see how people would watch this and love this match. There was a lot of great spots. There was a lot of hard-hitting spots. They're beating the crap out of each other in there. I'm not going to lie. Me personally, it left me a little flat. It didn't do it for me.
I think there was a lot of times where Bailey was trying to construct stuff, and it was a lot of wandering around, and the aggression wasn't there. The pace feral intensity of just primal rage of Bailey, of her friend turning on her like that. Like, so you're not going to go, you got her in Hell in a Cell. You're not going to go just focus on beating the absolute hell out of her. You're going to go and construct kendo sticks with duct tape. And
the constructions were so, they were trying to do so much that they kept falling apart.
Right.
We had 2 different ones of them that they couldn't use, or one they half used because they kept falling apart. And this is the problem. So you had 3 very different Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah.
You had Roman and Jay, which the cell was irrelevant. It was about the drama.
Yep.
They didn't matter they were in a cell. Sasha and Bailey were busy in there making Lego palaces out of all the of kendo sticks and chairs and all the rest. All about the toys, right?
Yep.
Very much a toy-centric match. And the problem with their feud is that drove me nuts. They should be kicking the crap out of each other, not like finding, quote, new and inventive ways to kick the crap out of each other that take so much time away from kicking the crap out of each other.
Yep.
There was a few moments where they were so busy trying to do a spot that Bailey would have a chair right there, and instead of using it to defend herself or using it to attack Sasha, she would just go on with, whatever else they were trying to do. The match didn't make me feel like these 2 genuinely wanted to kill each other.
Agreed.
It made me feel like 2 people who were in a situation where they had to do this big choreographed match and things kept going wrong and they kept having to improvise. And as a result, they were kind of lost some of the time. It didn't have a lot of that intensity for a lot of its runtime that I wanted it to. Now, it got there in the end, and there were a lot of great moments, but was it a great Hell in a Cell match? No. Was it a great women's match? Yeah, it was fine. Was it a great women's Hell in a Cell match? Best one they've ever done.
Yeah, agreed.
But again, that's not great company.
I wanted
was not the best Sasha and Bailey match. Was not the best Sasha and Bailey match either.
No, and listen, I'm getting to the point where I'm tired of people trying to compare things to the NXT Sasha and Bailey match.
Yep.
That's probably
fair.
not going to be insurmountable. That's probably not going to be, surpassable. It's insurmountable.
The story was better. The characters were better. It felt scrappier. It felt dirtier.
Yeah.
Than this. It's 4 different audiences. Yeah, no, that's completely fair. But I just have seen people comparing the 2 online, and I'm here to tell you that if you're going to compare apples and oranges, I'm going to tell you orange is one thing, apples another, and apples are better. So there you go. But orange juice is better.
Kyle
than
threw in
apple juice.
100 bits. He said Bailey and Sasha went into that cell match as if they were Sabu and Steve Blackman with how they were using all the toys. Great match, takeover worthy, not better than their NXT stuff, though.
I've never seen Sabu or Steve Blackman try to tape two kendo sticks together between the ring and the cage and have it kind of fall on this stupid little thing and then ask the ref, hey, my hands are slippery from sweat. Can you open up the tape for me? Which was funny when Bailey said it. But again, that's why Steve Blackman and Sabu wouldn't say that, because that's silly.
Steve would have just taken two kendo sticks, started doing crazy kung fu stuff with them, and beating the hell out of Sabu with them. That's
Steve
the difference. That's what was missing here.
And it would have just unrolled on its own. So, no. So, again, Sasha versus Bailey, Hell in a Cell, was fine. But I think a lot of people that are praising it as the second coming, I think are overhyping it. It was not that good. It was fine.
It was fine.
But it was fine.
Let's not let recency bias rule the day.
Didn't blow up my skirt.
No. Jay Wolf with 100 bits. Thank you, sir. Says November 22nd is Survivor Series. It is also the 10-year anniversary of The Miz cashing in on Randy Orton. Just saying.
That is a fantastic stat. Also, no one has lost the Money in the Bank briefcase since 2007 when Mr. Anderson lost it. Another stat for you.
Oh.
But Jay Wolf's is more relevant.
That is a really good stat. You must follow baseball stats or something, Jay, because that's the kind of stuff we pull out of baseball. That's fantastic.
This is why they need to have more stats in wrestling.
Yes.
And they need to have a statistician in wrestling to keep this kind of stuff going, because this is the kind of thing that they take from fans, because we are all psycho about stats. We'll do the stats for you. But if they can pre-game the stats, they can create stories that then drive us wild with those stats based on this kind of history.
Case in point, see AEW.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
So Sasha Bailey, it was fine. What was not fine was what followed, which was an impromptu match, which we didn't know about until somewhere around the beginning of the show, where Mustafa Ali, surrounded by his masked posse of Retribution, announced that one member of Retribution would face one member of the Hurt Business, and MVP could decide who faced who. Your choice, MVP. Even though Lashley tapped the hell out of T-Bar on last week's show, and then the Fiend destroyed
that apart while you were gone, by the way.
The Fiend. Oh, I actually. So I saw that on the trip, and I had to stop because it was making me too angry. It was pissing me off. Oh, I'm sorry. So Retribution I was T-Bar. Dominic Dijakovic, by the way. Dijak. It taps out.
Dijak!
Taps out. And then the Fiend destroys all members of Retribution. And then we get to this pay-per-view, and MVP says, well, why don't we have Slapjack, the worst named, worst masked, worst careered, poor Shane Thorne. Can't get his feet under him in this company. He's got to go face Bobby Lashley, who T-Bar can't beat.
Who was the guy that he was with in TM61 or The Mighty?
Yeah, exactly. He's off in New Japan having a great time.
Right.
Well, so here we are. Lashley, of course, after a little bit of offense from Slapjack, destroys him, taps him out, and then, of course, Retribution comes to the ring, tries to attack Lashley. He fights them off even before the Hurt Business comes out. They come into the ring as Mustafa Ali decides to jump in the ring. As soon as he realizes he's facing all the members of Hurt Business, he runs out of there like a heel, like a squirrely little heel. And then Retribution and Hurt Business face off. Retribution looking much weaker again in this scenario.
You signed them to contracts. You drafted them in a very high position, might I add, of the draft. You give them an impromptu Hell in a Cell match after Ali drops a legendary promo. And they've yet to win anything.
You've also built them up for months. You've made us have to sit through these stupid attacks before you even knew what the hell they were going to be. And once you finally figured it out, you then had to change it because you screwed it up on the first and second nights that you did it. And then once you finally put them with Ali and you got some momentum and they were online saving their asses by being on Twitter, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but that's gone quiet now.
Yeah.
One wonders why.
Because they were getting themselves over.
They were getting over too much on Twitter. Yeah. Oh, God, no. All we need is Kane to come back and push them off the ramp in a wheelchair, and that'll be that. What you get when you get yourself over on Twitter. Well, online. But the point is that they've had so many chances with Retribution.
Yeah.
And now it feels like they're tired of them. It feels like they're like before the plane even gets out of the airport, they're already tired of them. And they're like, put a fork in it. It's done. Someone backstage has lost interest. And that's pitiful. That's egregious. It is offensive that they would have done that, wasted all of our time, wasted all these superstars' times. This needs to be righted this week. Retribution needs to come back strong against the Hurt Business this week, or it's done. Or just take all these superstars out in the back, put a bullet in their head.
The way that you built them up,
horse.
You should Undisputed Era them. You should give them all the gold and make people come fight them for it.
Make them like that, like the NWO. It was a year. No one could touch the NWO.
Yeah.
You build the heat. You ask Kevin Sullivan. Bad guys have to get a ton of heat before you can take it off them. And now we've got two supposed heel teams, Hurt Business and Retribution. They're both supposedly heels, but Hurt Business is kind of nominally becoming a face team, which fine. I love Hurt Business, but you're putting your two most popular stables, or two most potential at least, against each other and making one look awful.
Yeah.
You can do this and have them both look good, but you have to do it by having Retribution come back strong this week.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just
take the horse out behind the barn.
Set the ship on fire.
You're going a little wonky, Sir Ian. Yep. You froze up. Oh, you're coming back. Oh, you're recovering. Kind of while you're recovering, I'm going to read some bits. Costanza threw 100 bits in. He says, they listen, so hopefully we will get stats. Yeah, I agree. Going back to the stats discussion, I completely agree. I think it's something that they could have on the website and just hire 2 or 3 people that are just full-time statisticians and, just make it on the website. We can go to MLB.com or NFL.com and look at all the stats we want to about individual players and their entire careers. Why can't I go Why can't I go look at Hulk Hogan's entire run for his entire career of all of his stats, his wins, losses, how many matches was he in, how many pay-per-views, wins and losses, and all that? I don't know.
You got how many fans who'd be willing to take that on as a job? They would love that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Pay some nerdy geek fan to just go in there and just go through their archives and get all that stuff collated.
All right, looks like I've sufficiently defended or fended off Retribution from your connection, so I think we're good.
Yeah, they were mad. I was talking about them losing a lot, and they're like, "Yeah, shut up, you."
Speaking of which, Cal threw 100 bits in. He says all the effort in Retribution's booking went away the minute they revealed Ali, and it got the whole thing over. Gee, I wonder why. Quote, can't make a buck off someone named Mustafa Ali, end quote. Thank you very much, Kyle. I think Ali's the best thing going with Retribution, and he's the spark that it needed. He's the ribbon that the package needed tied on it. And they still haven't allowed it, even with his leadership now in place. They still haven't allowed it to grow any further. It hit a high point for me when they brought chainsaws out and cut the ropes and destroyed everything. Since then, it was light flickering and basically getting their asses beat.
And even the one you referred was not that great.
Oh, sure. But it shocked us all. We were surprised by it. And it was like, oh, wow, this is awesome. Right?
No. I was like,
Okay.
As you recall.
Right.
I was like, okay, a bunch of kindergartners just took over WWE. Great. Yeah. So, but that wasn't the last match on the show. Oh, no. We had another Hell in a Cell match to go to, and that was, of course, Drew McIntyre defending his WWE Championship against the Viper, Randy Orton. Randy Kenneth Keith Kellenbeck, Kardashian Orton. Oh, Randy.
Yep.
He tried to blindside Drew before this match even started, but Drew was on to his shenanigans and started beating him pillar to post before they actually ended up getting into the Hell in a Cell. And then, in contrast to the other two Hell in a Cell matches, we had a proper old school Hell in a Cell match, and I don't say that in a good way, because we had faces being scraped along the chain link, we had table spots, we had
Drew was
chairs,
even sticking his tongue out and go through the
yeah, he was performing I've never thought of the chain link fence as a woman, but Drew just performed cunnilingus on that fence.
He did.
And it was very awkward to watch.
Indeed, he did.
Yes. And the fence liked it. The fence liked it a lot. But eventually Randy got his chain cutters out, clipped open the door, and decided to leave the cell, climbed to the top, And Drew followed him up there, even though the refs were saying, don't do it, Drew. It has to end in the ring. And then up top, Randy had hidden a steel pipe, also conveniently red and black. Couldn't hit Drew to save his life, though. And so even though we have a great drone shot of the two of them up on the top of the cell looking like something out of Star Wars, they fight up there for a little bit. And, of course, as you would expect, they start climbing down the side right over to that Undertaker Shawn Michaels sweet spot, which conveniently now has freaking footrests, which is the I'll get back to that.
Okay.
I'm going to swallow it. I'm going to swallow it down. I'm going to get back to that. So Randy and Drew battle on the outside. Drew gets the worst of it. Shawn Michaels himself onto the announce desk, which is nicely padded for him. Very sweet of them to do. And eventually gets dragged by Randy back into the Hell in a Cell, into the ring, where he mans up, tries to go for a Claymore, misses. Randy, RKO, 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre loses his championship. Randy is now a 14-time champion. So,
It only took me 4 pay-per-views picking him to get it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is so backwards.
Sounds like me and Nakamura and AJ. Okay, here we go. How did this match compare with those other matches that you're talking about? How did this Randy Orton Drew McIntyre match compare to their others? Because I really liked some of their other ones.
I really liked some of their other ones too. I think the flip should have happened sooner, and Drew should have gotten it back at Hell in a Cell. And I think that would have been a little more dramatic.
So let's discuss that.
Okay.
Randy's the champ now. Let's just jump ahead on that then.
Sure.
Randy's the champ now. Miz has the Money in the Bank briefcase. We didn't think that Miz could cash in on Drew. Could he cash in on Randy?
Sure.
He ain't cashing in on Roman. No one's taking that belt off Roman.
No.
Let's be clear about this. Roman's keeping that damn. Miz is not cashing in on Roman. Plus, Miz is on Raw, so he's going to go for the Raw title.
Right.
Let's just be clear about this. Could he cash in on Randy Orton? I mean, Jay Wolf just mentioned Survivor Series is a coming.
It's what,
and it's a 10-year anniversary of him doing it the last time.
Yeah, it's what you said earlier. He can lose. So my thing is, if he cashes in on Randy Orton, he's not going to have a successful cash in. This is why part of me is going, why not swerve us all by specifically calling out WWE and Universal Championships, but actually he's going to go cash it in and get the Intercontinental back, which is where he has the title reigns and what? You don't think he's going to go do?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
All right.
The Money in the Bank briefcase, to my knowledge, has never been cashed in on anything but the top titles. And I don't think they're changing that anytime soon. They don't have the creativity to do it. Now, if they did, I would love it. This is Nick booking I can get behind. I just can't fit that tinfoil hat on my head because it just doesn't work for me.
Right.
I see Miz cashing in on Randy. And I give him, frankly, even odds for getting the belt. And here's why. Because if he takes the title off of Randy, Randy can win it back. If Randy can win it back, then we can still get one step closer to either Randy Orton trying to go for his 17th at WrestleMania against John Cena going for his 17th and the all-time record, which would be a huge WrestleMania main event to go next to Roman Reigns versus The Rock, which also I think is what's going to happen. Or Randy Orton defending the title against Edge at WrestleMania, if Edge is back in time.
So with all of this being said, Miz is on record saying, I will main event WrestleMania 37 or I'll retire.
Well, bye.
I don't think that's going to happen.
He's not doing either. Let's be clear.
So
he's not going.
The only way he could do that is if he were to wait and cash in at the end of the main event at WrestleMania, and theoretically, that would be somewhat of an equivalent of that. I don't see Miz in the next 6 months becoming a big enough superstar to co-main event alongside Roman Reigns and The Rock. Are you kidding me?
No. The Rock deal would have to fall through. Cena would have to fall through. And again, I mentioned earlier Drew Gulak calling out John Cena. That could be a setting up something for that. That's why I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I want to point out here is that, Drew is a champ who's going to work better in front of a crowd. They're going to get crowds back within the next couple of weeks. They're going to start doing the AEW thing and selling out outdoor arenas with social distancing. So when Drew wins it back, he'll have a crowd for his coronation. So that's why now. That's why he shouldn't win it back at Hell in a Cell. He lost it at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
It made sense to me.
Yeah.
It made sense to me. Now, here's the other problem. 3 Hell in a Cell matches here. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton have one style. Sasha and Bayley have another style. Roman and Jay didn't even need the damn cell. It just was there for the image and the drama. Okay? 3 different styles of Hell in a Cell match. Too many Hell in a Cell matches?
Yes.
Even so?
Yes.
Okay, how about this? Should Hell in a Cell be done away with as a pay-per-view and as a concept unless they can do it right? Because frankly, and here's where I'm going to start getting dramatic, they can't do Hell in a Cell right. Hell in a Cell sucks. As a match stipulation, it sucks. And here's why. Because it can never live up to what Hell in a Cell truly is, which is used to be one of the scariest damn stipulations you could get because so many scary matches happen inside of it.
And why were they scary?
They were scary because blood. They were scary because of actual viciousness. They were scary because of big spots. None of these matches had any of that.
No.
If you want to tell me that Drew and Randy standing on fucking footrests, and I'm sorry, Hell in a Cell review is always one where I seem to drop the F-bombs the most, so I apologize.
Well, last year started it.
Last year, I still haven't recovered from the number of F-bombs I dropped last year. But if you're going to tell me that this Hell in a Cell match, this is Hell in a Cell, and they've got footrests on the outside built in so guys can do Shawn Michaels spots, get out of here.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell me that Bayley and Sasha needed to be inside Hell in a Cell, I'm going to call you a damn liar. And if you tell me that Roman Reigns and Jey Uso needed to be inside Hell in a Cell, I'm going to call you a damn liar. You didn't need it. It doesn't need to be built up to that amount. You really killed it last year with The Fiend and Seth and having that be thrown out, a Hell in a Cell match be thrown out. You almost did it this year. Hell in a Cell's done. It's toast. It's a dead concept. It's a dead match. It's not scary anymore. It's not intimidating. It doesn't help the matches. We don't get good matches out of it. None of these matches were good because they were Hell in a Cell matches. In fact, I'd argue that Sasha and Bayley was made into a bad match because it was in Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell needs to be retired. It needs to go away. It needs to come back when they're willing to actually have a Hell in a Cell match that's genuinely going to scare us and make us intimidated about what this structure is. Because right now, we're not getting that, and it's a joke. It's a freaking joke.
Welcome back, Surrey and Dangerous, to the
Hi,
show.
I'm back, everybody. Hey! I'm back.
Here's what I'll say. I kind of agree with your premise in the sense that Hell in a Cell used to be like it was the last stop. It was the final destination. It was when all else failed and you had to get that bad blood out. We're gonna do it in
Hell in a Cell.
right.
It's beyond a cage match won't do it.
Right.
A strap match won't do it. We got to go to Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
Right. We've got to actually go there to the and for a while there, when they promoted it as being the scariest match, as being the one that shortens careers, it was.
Yeah.
It genuinely was. Mick Foley had to spend $15,000 on dental work this week alone because of the Hell in a Cell match that was over 20 years ago. Yeah. So do the math. I still, to this day, I cringe when I think of Brock Lesnar and Undertaker in Hell in a Cell and Brock bleeding into Undertaker's mouth because they were both gushing so much. Hell in a Cell is supposed to be a scary match. You know what this was? These matches? Boring. As Hell in a Cell matches. Entertaining as matches, fine. They had their good points, and Roman and Jay was great. Not because of the cell. Didn't need the cell.
Nope.
Kill it. Kill the concept. Kill the pay-per-view. Do something else.
I'm fine with the concept as long as you make it what I was describing a minute ago. Like the most, all bets are off. Almost everything that goes in there has to be
you're leaving the door open for this kind of pay-per-view, though, Nick. That's exactly what their thought was going into this. Drew and Randy, their final stop is Hell in a Cell. Sasha and Bayley,
it's not going to be their final stop, though.
Of course, it's not.
So,
but they're promoting it as that. They're promoting it as that. And again, like with Jay and Roman, well, we have some matches, some feuds that'll have some extra drama added to them. They're around the same time. They seem to be getting to a certain point around Hell in a Cell. So, hey, there's hell to pay. Let's throw it inside a cell because why not? We have the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Right? It's tables, ladders, and chairs. We'll have a match be a chairs match because, well, we got to have chairs somewhere. It's in the title of the pay-per-view, right? Extreme rules. Let's make up some rules that are extreme. All right, they're becoming beholden to the titles of their pay-per-views, and it's in this particular instance in Hell in a Cell, they have to let it go. Let it go. Hell in a Cell is dead, and you heard it right here on Busted Wide Open.
Woo! Hot take, ladies and gentlemen. Hot take.
I don't think it's that hot. I think more and more people are starting.
I think a lot of people sit there going, yeah, he's got a point. Yeah. Catching up on bits, Costanza with 100 bits said bigger disappointment, sanity or retribution. Your thoughts?
Sanity.
Easily bigger disappointment.
I never believed in retribution. I had a couple of moments of like brief glimmering hope that I clung on to. Sanity, I actually was really excited when they got called with the main roster. This is going to be awesome. And then I saw how the main roster, they didn't know how to do the camera work for their entrance. They didn't know how to sell them. They didn't know how to deal with them properly. Vince didn't get them. Way bigger and talented to the moon. Just huge disappointment. Yep. Eric Young
left WWE, went over and won the title.
Yeah. Sorry, Sanity, much bigger disappointment.
Thank you very much, Chris. Next up, Kyle with 100 bits says, why not strap Randy after the first two matches with Drew coming out on top? You're going into Survivor Series. You just drafted a bunch of main event heels to Raw for Drew. Now makes no sense after everything, especially when you have a potential Drew, Roman, Balor triple threat. Balor? What? Did I miss something?
Balor might be back in time.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Just
if they decide triple, if they decide to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'll do that. It'll be interesting to see if they do that. I
think Randy as the Survivor Series captain is going to be a lot of fun. Frankly,
I agree
because everyone hates him.
Yep. He has no friends, and he has to build a team.
Hey, we're just done with Hell in a Cell. I'm calling it now. SmackDown is winning Survivor Series.
Ooh.
Calling it now. Calling it now. It's Roman Reigns. It's Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. Michael Cole is not even calling him the big dog anymore. Can we stop? Actually, hold on. Stop the show. I know we're almost done, but I'm going to stop the show. Roman Reigns was not referred to as the big dog by Michael Cole when he came out. He was referred to as the tribal chief. I am beside myself. The big dog is dead.
Yeah.
Dog Ziggler just jumped up at that. That's how ubiquitous it's become.
Because
Dog Ziggler here is
one out for the big dog. F's in chat for the big dog.
Oh, pour it out. Pour out the bevs for the big dog.
And Kyle, this is kind of what I was saying a little bit ago, where it would have made. This is why I wanted to get it back on Drew by the time we got done with Hell in a Cell, so we went into Survivor Series this way. But I like this even better now. The more that I think about it, but that was just my argument of why we should have flip-flopped it earlier to get it back on Drew by the time we got done.
This could be fun with Randy having the title.
It really could. It really could.
And it will extend his reign.
Yep.
Unless Miz turns on him in the middle of Survivor Series and cashes in.
That could be genius. That could be genius. Jesse with 100 bits says, do you think the Orton-Drew feud match should be over or on hold because it was in a cell? Absolutely. Well, it kind of goes back to what Ian and I were just talking about. Is Hell in a Cell was the last stop. It was the final destination. It was the blow-off of blow-offs, right?
They will not have another Drew and Randy match at Survivor Series because it's brand versus brand in direct competition. So it's going to be on hold for 2 months at least.
And now I think there's
probably be simmerings of it. You know, Drew's not going to take this quietly, but
no.
I don't think they're going to have a match at Survivor Series. They could do that. They could take Randy and Drew out of it and have Raw have another Survivor Series team and have Randy and Drew have another match, but I think that'd be foolish.
Yeah, I do too.
Right?
I do too.
That would be a lot less interesting than Randy trying to captain the Raw team. And Drew maybe being one of his teammates.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot more interesting.
Jesse with another 100 bits. Thank you very much, Jess. SmackDown wins. That means Daniel Bryan was right on the OK Shop.
Gotta say, Daniel Bryan's a smart man. He's also part of creative now. He does creative for the show. Just saying.
And he's kind of got some pull around there, you know.
He does. He got some stroke after all these years.
Yeah.
Of proving that he can draw.
Yep.
Go figure. Go figure how that works. Yeah. So Nick, you did call it. You called Randy finally picking it up here. I thought Drew was going to retain. I'm kind of happy I'm wrong. I think Randy with the title is more interesting. I did my picks late at night after driving for 12 hours straight in a hotel room with one eye closed. So I take little shame and
let me have my moment. Once a year, maybe. Please.
4-3. Nick gets it with a Jeff Hardy disqualification. Nick Howell, you have won the pick'ems for Hell in a Cell. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In all seriousness, congratulations. Well done. What did you think of the show overall? Hell in a Cell. How was the pay-per-view? How would you rate it as a pay-per-view for this year? And then we will let everyone go on to their evenings.
I would have shell-gamed the Hell in a Cell matches around a little bit. I actually thought we were going to open up with the ladies to really have that sort of hot one coming out, and Sasha going over with a face win to open up the show. I think would have been a much better start. I have Drew and Randy in the middle, and finish with that amazing Roman Reigns segment that, like we've said, didn't need to be in. This felt completely flip-flopped around. Like it just didn't make any sense the way it was put together. Yeah. But if we look at the micro instead of the macro, each individual match had its own moments. It had its high spots. Solid B, maybe B plus because I liked that Roman stuff so much.
C plus, and it's only getting the plus because of the Roman stuff. The only thing memorable about this pay-per-view will be the Roman segment.
Yeah.
Will be the Roman match. They'll be the only thing that's memorable, and only because I think that feud is going to be feud of the year.
Oh, easily.
At the way it's going right now. Or the Roman will be. I don't know if the Usos, that might be winding down and turning into something else. But I think that Roman's heel turn will be one of the things we talk about at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this pay-per-view I think was utterly forgettable. I think people might remember the Sasha and Bayley match, but I don't know if they're going to go back and seek out this pay-per-view to watch it.
They might. If somebody's telling the story, we'll see highlights of it for the next few weeks, couple of months as we continue to tell the story. And
I think history might be kinder to that match.
Yeah.
Than I'm being to it right now. I think people will look back on it in glowing terms and may come back and find it, and taken out of context of the show and everything else, it might be thought of well. But I personally, I don't think that it should be held up on that pedestal yet. I mean, maybe I'll watch it again and I'll have a different feeling. But just after watching it for the first time, it was just a match. It was just there.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I felt about the whole pay-per-view. A bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
So
I won't say a letdown. I did not enjoy it, but I'm not sitting here screaming from the rooftops, "Oh my God!" I wanted that, and I got a little bit when they started out with the Roman Reigns stuff the way that they did. Part of me was going, shit, what are they going to do next? Oh my God, this is going to be amazing.
How are you going to follow this? Answer, they won't. So that's my problem.
Unfortunately, that's what we ended up happening.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, not the best Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but certainly lots of things to discuss and think about, and certainly lots of things set up for this coming week of Raw and SmackDown, which we will be discussing on our regular shows. I'll be back on Tuesday. I'm back on the regular schedule. No surprise there. It is official. I will be back on Tuesday discussing the old Raws and doing a little bit of catch up on. Did you catch up on New Japan while I was gone?
Did
you talk about G1?
But we're going to do the G1 retrospective next week for the patrons as our bonus episode.
About Raw on Tuesday then, and then on Friday, of course, we'll be doing AEW.
A lot's been going. We had the draft. We had season premieres. Like a lot's happened since you've been gone, dude. Since you've been gone.
Don't you ever do that to me again. Don't you ever sing that song on this show ever again. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. Thanks for listening to us yap on about Hell in a Cell. Oh, sorry, Nick. You do it better than I do.
Hell in a Cell.
I want one. But thanks everyone for showing up and joining us, and thanks for hanging out in the chat here. I'm sorry I was not on Discord. I was trying to play it low key, but I promise I am back now for good. And I appreciate.
Yeah, you're never allowed to go on vacation ever again.
Hey,
let's just put that out there. By the way,
3 years of not going on vacation, and probably 3 years before I do it again. So
back to work, you.
Oh God. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. But Nick, thank you for holding down the fort while I was gone. Really appreciate it very, very much, and thank you everyone for keeping the faith as well and hanging out. And I missed you all, and it's good to be back. And I look forward to getting back in the saddle this week.
I got to throw one more in real quick. Esme snuck one in with 100 bits. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Excuse me. Thank you, Esme.
Wow.
Randy draws his power from his trunks as soon as those pants were off. Game over, man. Game over.
Him and Taichi.
And you know, the first in the first couple of minutes before I realized they were like track pants or something like that, I was like, I could see Randy wrestling in slacks. I could actually that might be a good look for him. It'd be a little throwback Evolution.
He's done it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I actually like that look on him to change things up every now and then. Even Drew coming out in jeans or slacks every now and then is kind of a.
There's only one champ that should be in long pants and topless, and that's Roman frickin' Reigns, because he looks like a god. He looks like a god.
Yeah, he does.
Right now, like just like a. I'd say looks like a Greek god, but of course he's Samoan.
Right.
But you know what I mean? I mean, he is statuesque.
Yeah.
Like
very
just huge mountain of man.
That is a man.
That's
right there,
man.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
dear Lord.
Like I'm a man. I'm a man. He's a man.
That is a.
And I am. I'm comfortable.
man.
That's exactly. I'm comfortable enough in my masculinity to admit that Roman Reigns is a grade A prime beef man.
Yes.
All right. So with that in your head and that in your hearts, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We're gonna head on down the road.
We're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Welcome back, sir. Ian Dangerous, good to have you back, sir. You can find all of our links to all of our things over at bwopodcast.com or here on Twitch. Down in the panels below, just click on the About section. You'll see all the information down there. BWO Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Come join us in the Facebook discussion group. Make sure you get into the Discord. Heads up, fans and listeners. We got some changes coming to the Discord in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be moving into a nice new home, and I'll have some more info for you on that as we do that, to make sure that everybody understands what we're doing and where we're going. So more on that later. Make sure you subscribe over at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Thank you to all of the patrons for all of your support every single month, along with bits and subs here on Twitch. It is the best way to support myself and Sir Ian Dangerous and this show.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for all of the support. Looking forward to doing the patron mailbag again with Sir Ian Dangerous on Tuesday. So make sure I'll get the post up tonight to make sure you get all your questions in for Tuesday night's show. And I think that's it. But if you'd like to get in on some of those exclusives, head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those awesome reward tiers. We're still getting questions about where the podcast is now, because people haven't listened to the update or read the posts or anything like that. So please help.
Falls through the cracks.
It happens. Yeah. Be sure to remind people September 4th update episode that is still out there on the podcast feed. We'll have all the information for them, and we've got posts in the group and all of that kind of good stuff. So,
yes.
Let me think. That's it. We're out of here. My name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at Data Center Dude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and you can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
But somebody stop the damn match!
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.